listening to the Photobomb Podcast with the world's greatest photographers, Booray and Gary.
All right, so what do we got in the news this week?
Well, we need to talk. I think we need to talk about the new Panasonic camera that's coming out in March.
Oh, yeah. I was actually looking at this because you mentioned it to talk about on the show today, and I got to say, I'm fairly impressed with it.
Right, because I mean, one of the things you said to me earlier, you go, yeah, because who cares about Panasonic? And then suddenly you're like, wow, the Lumix, they're coming out with a Lumix full frame mirrorless camera. Right, it's going to be on their new system, their new lens mount that accepts Sigma lenses and Leica lenses. Right, it's got 4K video, it's got Bluetooth, it's got image stabilization, it's got dual card slots. Right, which we're always screaming about.
Which is the number one thing everybody's been yelling about.
Did I mention full frame?
Right.
It's got some new HDR mode that I think. Yeah. Didn't you say?
Yeah, Let me run over the fine points. What we're talking about is the Panasonic Lumix S1 and S1R, and just like most of the other systems, they're releasing two models. This is going to be in March coming up. One is going to be the higher end, and one's going to be the lower end. So you've got the S1, which is going to be a 24 megapixel camera, and the S1R, which is going to be a 47 megapixel camera. I think the main difference is going to be the resolution of the files, and the prices aren't out yet, but you can just assume they'll probably fairly market, where you'll see the S1 probably in the 2,000 to 2,500 range, and then you'll see the S1R in the 3,000 to 4,000 range, is my guess. So here some of the, that's just a guess, by the way, no inside baseball, no inside information. Here's some of the features that make it stand out. It seems to me like Panasonic's been sitting back, watching for Nikon and Canon and Sony, and put out all this stuff, and then they go, okay, we're going to fix all of the things that everyone complains about all the other cameras, and then put these out. But here are the finer points. You've got 4K video at 60 frames per second, which is going to be a game changer for those full-frame mirrorless cameras. I think that to be able to do slow motion at 4K is definitely, for the video people, something that they really, really, really want. And Panasonic, the Lumix series, are already very popular with video people, so this is going to give them even better quality with a full-frame sensor, while they can still do 4K at 60 frames per second. It's going to have in-body image stabilization built into both bodies, so that's going to be really excellent. That's something that people have been asking for. It has the new L-mount lens, which is a collaboration between Panasonic, Sigma, and Leica to create lenses for this system. Now, I'm not sure exactly, I have to research this a little bit more, whether that means that this same lens is going to work across those platforms for new cameras that they're coming out with, which is possible. So theoretically, you could buy with, let's say, a Leica, and use your L-mount lenses from your Panasonic between the two cameras. I think that's I don't know that those bodies exist yet, but I think that's sort of their vision, is to have different camera systems be able to share lenses. And I think that's kind of really forward thinking, because lenses are the one reason. Because, I mean, if you're a camera maker, you should say, well, right now you're pretty much locked into whatever system you use. And so for camera, and I might want to take a different camera on vacation than the one that I use professionally. And I might really like one model. And so for those people who like to use different platforms, different formats, this is a kind of an interesting way to lead the industry and say, it's okay to do that. And I think that that's really kind of forward thinking.
Hey guys, Gary here. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to our channel here. You can check out some awesome new videos here, and go into the description of this video and you can get a link to where you can subscribe to the podcast and listen to the entire episode. We'd love to see you there. Thanks for watching.